Have you ever noticed that when you try to say something really important in English, your brain just goes blank? It is a very specific kind of frustration because you know exactly what you want to say in your own language, but when you try to move that thought into English, it feels like hitting a wall. You are standing there, someone is waiting for your answer, and your mind is just spinning like a computer that is trying to load a file that is much too large. This is what we call the translation brain freeze, and it happens to almost every learner at the A2 and B1 levels. Today, we are going to look at why this happens, and specifically how you can stop it from ruining your conversations.
I am so glad we're talking about this because I hear this from students every single day. They tell me they feel like a completely different person in English. In their native language, they are funny, they are smart, and they are professional. But the moment they switch to English, they feel like they have the vocabulary of a 5-year-old. It is so discouraging. I remember when I was learning my second language, I would try to explain a complex problem at work, and I would just end up pointing at things because I couldn't translate the high-level thoughts in my head fast enough. It makes you want to just stop talking and use a translation app instead.
That feeling of losing your personality is the biggest pain point. But here's the secret that most people do not tell you. The reason your brain is freezing is not that your English is bad. The reason is that you are falling into 3 specific translation traps that are actually training your brain to get stuck. If you can identify these traps and use a different method to build your thoughts, you can actually start thinking in English much faster than you think. Before we dive into the first trap, make sure you subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell. We share these pocket-sized lessons every week to help you turn these moments of frustration into moments of fluency, so you never have to feel stuck in a conversation again.
So let's get into that first trap. What is the main thing that causes this mental block?
The first one is what I call the word-for-word mirror. This is the habit of trying to find a perfect English twin for every single word in your native sentence. For example, if you have a common expression in your language that uses 5 words, your brain starts searching for 5 specific English words to match them. But English is a completely different puzzle. The pieces do not fit the same way. If you try to mirror your native language word for word, you are creating a huge amount of work for your brain. You are essentially asking your mind to run a high-speed translation office while you are also trying to listen to the other person. No wonder it freezes.
That makes so much sense. I see people doing this when they try to use idioms from their own country. They translate an idiom directly into English, and it sounds very strange. Or they get stuck halfway through because there is no direct translation for a specific word. I once heard a student try to translate a phrase about time, and they spent 30 seconds just looking for one preposition that didn't even exist in the English version of that idea. They could have just said, "I am late," but their brain was trapped in that mirror.
Exactly. The fix for the word-for-word mirror is to stop looking for twins and start looking for the core idea. Instead of trying to translate the sentence, "I have the intention of going to the store later this afternoon," your brain should just look for the English chunk, "I want to go to the store." We call these pocket phrases. They are short, they are pre-assembled, and they do not require you to build a mirror. A great thing you can try today is to identify one phrase you say all the time in your language and find the simplest 3-word English version of it. Do not translate the words, translate the purpose.
That leads us right into the second trap, which I think is more about our emotions than our grammar. It is the sophistication bias. This is the fear of sounding too simple. Most of the people listening to this are adults with careers, hobbies, and complex lives. When they speak their native language, they use sophisticated words. So when they think in English, they try to find sophisticated English words to match their level of intelligence. If they can't find the word for disappointed, they won't settle for the word sad because they think sad sounds too childish, so they stay silent or they stutter while they search for the bigger word.
This is such a psychological trap. We have to give ourselves permission to be simple. Think about it this way. If you are a B1 learner, your English level is like a small toolbox. If you try to build a skyscraper with a small hammer and a screwdriver, you are going to fail. But you can build a very beautiful, strong, small house with those tools. When you accept that being clear is more important than being clever, the brain freeze disappears. Native speakers actually use very simple language in 90% of their daily conversations. We say things like, "it was good," or "I am tired," all the time. We do not always use big academic words. I love that. Clear is better than clever. I think we should all write that on a sticky note. I had a friend who was so worried about using the word eat too much that he kept trying to remember words like consume or partake. In the middle of a dinner party, he just stopped talking because he couldn't remember the fancy word. If he had just said, "This food is great," he would have been part of the conversation. The action step here is really to embrace the small words. Today, if you are thinking to yourself in English, Try to describe your feelings using only the most basic adjectives you know: happy, sad, hot, cold, busy. It builds the habit of moving through thoughts quickly without getting stuck in the search for high-level vocabulary. That brings us to the most important part of our lesson, which is the bridge method. This is the tool that helps you actually cross over from your native thought into an English thought without the freeze. Most people try to jump from a complex native thought directly into English, and they fall into the gap. The bridge method adds a middle step. The middle step is called thought stripping. You take your complex thought, you strip away all the extra words, and you turn it into a subject, a verb, and an object. That is your bridge. Can you give us an example of how that works in a real situation? Let's say I am at work and I need to tell my boss that I cannot finish a report because the data is missing and I have too many other meetings. That is a complex thought. How do I use the bridge? Perfect scenario. Your native brain says something like, I am currently experiencing a delay with the project because the necessary information has not yet been provided by the other department, and my schedule is completely full of appointments. That is a heavy, difficult sentence for a B1 brain to translate. To use the bridge method, we strip it down. Step 1, find the core. The core is, the report is late. Step 2, find the reason. The reason is, I don't have the data. Step 3, add the final detail. I am busy today. Now look at those 3 simple pieces. The report is late. I don't have the data. I am busy. Those are easy to say. They are clear. They communicate the exact same information without the brain freeze. You have built a bridge from a complex problem to a simple, effective English solution. It sounds so much more manageable when you break it down like that. It is almost like you are an editor for your own thoughts. You are cutting out the fluff so that the main message can get through. I think people worry that they will sound rude if they are that brief, but in English, being direct and clear is often seen as being professional and efficient. It is much better to say 3 simple sentences clearly than to struggle through one long, confusing sentence for 2 minutes. Exactly. And the more you practice this thought stripping, the faster your brain becomes. Eventually, you won't even need to think about the complex version anymore. You will just go straight to the bridge. To make this really stick, we have a little drill you can do right now. I want you to imagine a problem you had yesterday. Maybe you lost your keys, or you were stuck in traffic, or you forgot to buy milk. Think of that problem in your native language right now. Now I want you to strip it down. Who is the subject? What is the verb? What is the object? If you forgot the milk, the bridge is just, I forgot the milk. That is it. If you were stuck in traffic, the bridge is, there was a lot of traffic. I am late. Practicing this with small daily frustrations is the best way to train your brain to stop translating and start bridging. I think the most important thing for everyone to remember is that this is a skill you build, not a talent you are born with. Every time you choose to use a simple sentence instead of getting stuck on a complex one, you are winning. You are teaching your brain that it is safe to speak English and that you don't need to rely on your native language as a crutch. Over time, that bridge gets shorter and shorter until the 2 languages feel like they are right next to each other. That is the goal of the Pocket English podcast. We want to give you those small, manageable tools that you can carry in your pocket and use whenever you have a few minutes. If you found this helpful, please give this video a like and share it with a friend who is also struggling with that annoying brain freeze. It really helps us reach more learners like you. And don't forget to check out our other videos where we practice these simple patterns in different real-life scenarios, like traveling or talking about your hobbies. My final advice for everyone today is to try the 7-day Simple Thought Challenge. For the next week, every time you are alone, maybe while you are making coffee or driving to work, try to narrate your life using only the bridge method. Use only 3-word or 4-word sentences. I am making coffee. The water is hot. It is a sunny day. I need to work. It might feel too simple at first, but you are actually building the neural pathways that lead to true fluency. You are teaching your brain to bypass the translation center and go straight to the speaking center.
It is all about those small, consistent steps. You do not need to be perfect today. You just need to be a little bit more direct than you were yesterday. When you stop worrying about being a sophisticated speaker and start focusing on being a clear communicator, everything changes. You will find that people understand you better. You will feel more confident, and most importantly, that frustrating brain freeze will start to disappear. Thank you so much for spending these few minutes with us today. Keep your thoughts simple, keep your English clear, and let your confidence grow one pocket-sized conversation at a time. We will see you in the next lesson.